Weather and climate both involve variations in temperature, precipitation, and other environmental factors. You're probably thinking, what's the difference? Weather is a day-to-day condition of Earth's atmosphere. Climate, on the other hand, is the average conditions over a long period of time. A region's climate is defined by patterns of precipitation and temperature from that year and those prior to it. Microclimates is basically, as the term states, the climate of a small region. A global climate is shaped by many factors, including solar energy trapped in the biosphere, latitude, and the transport of heat by winds and ocean currents. The main force that shapes our climate is the solar energy from the sun. Sometimes the sun's energy is reflected back into space while some is absorbed and converted into heat. That heat can be radiated back into space or get trapped in the biosphere. The balance between heat that stays in the biosphere and heat lost to space determines Earth's average temperature. The balance is largely controlled by concentrations of three gases found in the atmosphere: carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor. These gases, called greenhouse gases, function like glass in a greenhouse, allowing visible light to enter but trapping heat. This phenomenon is called the greenhouse effect. If greenhouse gas concentrations rise, they trap more heat, so the Earth warms. Moving on, you've probably heard what a niche is. A niche describes not only what an organism does, but also how it interacts with biotic and abiotic factors in the environment. Organisms occupy different places in part because each species has a range of conditions under which it can grow and reproduce. These conditions help define where and how an organism lives. Every species has its own range of tolerance, which is the ability to survive and reproduce under a range of environmental circumstances. These circumstances could be high or low temperatures or how long the organism can survive without sustenance. A species' tolerance for environmental condition then helps determine its address, or habitat, the general place where an organism lives. Obviously, more than one organism can eat the same thing. That can lead to competition. Hopefully, it's not just me, but have you ever had an all-out brawl with a sibling for the last slice of pineapple or the last sip of drink? A similar concept is applied to communities. Different species compete with one another to be able to feed their families and themselves. This can put a restriction on how large the population of that species can grow. The second to last thing we're going to talk about today is symbiosis. Any relationship in which two species depend and live on each other is called symbiosis. The three main classes of symbiosis are mutualism, parasitism, and commensalism. Mutualism is when both species in the relationship are benefiting from interaction. Take clownfish, for example. The clownfish is unaffected by the sting of the sea anemone, which affects the majority of fish. So when the clownfish is in danger, the anemone protects it. When there is an anemone eating fish, the clownfish scares them away, protecting the anemone. The second example is parasitism. It is when one species benefits from the relationship but the other is harmed. One example is lice. Lice live on the bodies of mammals, feeding on their blood and skin. The lice benefits, but the mammal that is being fed on is harmed. Commensalism is a relationship in which one organ benefits and the other is neither helped or harmed. An example would be barnacles on whales. The barnacle does not harm the whale, but simply attaches itself onto the whale to move through the water to consume food. The final topic of today will be biomes. Ecologists classify Earth's terrestrial ecosystems into at least 10 different groups of regional climate communities called biomes. Biomes are described in terms of abiotic factors like climate and soil type, and biotic factors like plant and animal life. Major biomes include the tropical rainforest, the tropical dry forest, tropical grassland, desert, the temperate grassland, the temperate woodland, the temperate forest, the northwestern coniferous forest, a taiga, and a tundra. And there you go, you now know all about ecosystems and communities.